Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday Night Live. I have a guest tonight, which I will introduce her in just a moment. I just want to do a few announcements. First of all, thank you for coming. It's going to be a nice night tonight. We're going to be talking to Cathy Dickson, and but I said I was going to get to that in a moment. I want to just mention that we have three moderators here tonight. We have Bonnie, Melissa, and Sherry. You will see them in the comments. They in the live chat. They will be leaving links, and they will be just answering questions where they can. The main announcement I want to make is that next week I'm away, so there will not be a live stream. I might be able to post something at the, I might schedule something to go to the public, at this time next Sunday. It's something I am working on, but I just don't know if it's going to be ready in time. So I just want to say, if you don't see it in anything next Sunday at this time, I'm in Tennessee. I'm going to the carnivore retreat near Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I think those are the only announcements that I had. So welcome everybody. My name is Anita. If this is your first time tuning in, I've lost 145 pounds following an animal-based way of eating. I went from low carb to keto. Now I'm carnivore. And you saw some of my before pictures there. It's a different life I have now, a completely changed life. And this is what Cathy is going to talk about. So let's bring Cathy on and say hi, Cathy. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that you're here.
Oh, hi, Anita.
Yeah, we are going to give you some time to tell, because I don't think a lot of my audience knows you. And so I would like to get them to know you. I've gotten to know you a little bit in the private membership that we have. You have been coming to the Zoom meetings and that kind of thing. So I think it would be nice if other people got to know you as well, and how you are helping other people who are like us, people who have food issues. And so maybe you could start with telling us about your own personal weight loss story and, what happened and what you're like now.
All right, Anita. Well, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate that. And anyway, it kind of goes all the way back to childhood. You know how it is. I know that
I do.
you have a German background.
Hmm.
I have a Dutch background. And some of the food that I grew up with was very high in sugar, and I grew to love that. And so around the age of 9, I wound up just uh, sort of blossoming from from 99 pounds, which is a fair bit for a 9-year-old, to 212 pounds.
Oh.
I wound up going to, a weight loss place. No, that went up, that kept climbing. Then I went to a weight loss place, lost over 100 pounds, put that back on plus some,
This was
and
while
so on.
you were still like a young person then at that time? Oh, we lost sound. No?
No,
Oh, there we
we're
go.
good.
There we go. We're
Okay.
good. Sorry,
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah. So I was 12 years old at that time. And then I did the yo-yo diet. I'd go up 100 pounds, down 100 pounds, like, I don't know how much I've lost altogether. But we don't count that. So anyway, moving along, in 2006, I was supervising these two group homes. And one of my staff members was getting married. And I thought, I got to do something for that staff member. She wanted to lose weight. And I had a number of other staff that sort of maybe could use losing some weight or improving their health in some way.
Hmm.
So I devised this health challenge. And I thought, well, we'll have the two teams, one team against the other. They all wrote down not their weight loss necessarily, but their health goal for the week. If they made their health goal, we would praise them, say, wonderful, fantastic, great job. But if they didn't, they had to take a loonie. That's a Canadian dollar. I know
Yeah.
it's a little crazy. It's a Canadian dollar, and they had to stick it in a jar. At the end of 12 weeks, they would give their jar, like the house that had the most money in it, to the other team. And because I was leading this deal, I thought, I have got to set the example. I set this thing up. I have to lead this. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? I've been on every diet. I even went on a candy diet one time. I ate only jujubes for a month. I wound up getting really sick and in a hospital. But, you know, so I thought, well, there's this crazy diet out there. And I've heard of it, but I thought, no way could this work. And you'll be familiar with it. It was Atkins induction,
Ah,
which basically was eating less than 25 carbs a
yeah.
day, some low carb vegetables, and meat, as much as you wanted. And I thought, I'm going to try it. I have to do something. So I did. And I consistently lost 3 pounds a week, all the way down to my goal. So I didn't even have a weight loss stall. It just kept
Wow.
going. And then I just sort of continued with that, at least for the most part. In 2015, I had a divorce. So when I got divorced, I kind of fell off a little bit. But so I did gain some back. I gained back about 40 pounds. And then we had that, the
Yeah.
2020 thing hit.
Yeah.
And when I saw that everybody that got really, really sick, they were also quite overweight. And I thought, oh, Cathy, you're overweight. You need to do something. So I know what to do. I'll go back on keto. So I went back on keto, but I was finding that my vegetables were sitting in the fridge. I'd buy them at the beginning of the week. I'd throw them out at the end of the week. I'd buy them at the beginning of the week. I'd throw them out at the end of the week. And I thought, I'm just wasting money on this. Why don't I just stick with meat? So I continued to look online, and I see that there's other people that are eating just meat. And I thought, so, all right. So this is 3 years ago now. I went on carnivore. And since I've been on carnivore, I have been watching your channel.
Thank you.
Even before that, yes, because there's so many great ideas. And I think I've shared with you, I'm not a cook, but I do pick up on your ideas. And I'm like, I could do something like that.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that you offer things that even people that don't cook can do something with it.
I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear you say that because I'm not, much of a cook either, but I love to cook, but I'm not trained. But I just find it fun.
Well, I don't know. It looks trained to me. What do I know? I work with a frying pan and an air fryer, and that's the limit of my cooking. That's it. So, in fact, I remember you doing one where there was just really simple. I think it was just a frying pan.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, and I thought, well, that's the thing for me.
So when you started carnivore, you didn't even know it was carnivore. You were just like,
No,
I'm wasting all these veggies. And I know what that's like. I would buy those organic spring mixes, and then a week later, it would be a box of slime, basically. And
right.
that's expensive, to buy
It is.
that and throw it out every week. So I know that feeling.
Yeah. I didn't really enjoy them. They were just there because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. In fact, it said that in the Atkins book that you had to have at least 15 grams a day of vegetables.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm like, well, so anyway, so that worked out great. I kind of like to talk about what happened with my health through this journey.
Yeah.
So when I was on keto, well, my highest weight ever was 286.
Wow.
I did go way, way down. When I started keto, I was 256. I went quite a bit down, possibly, well, lower than what the doctor said I needed to. And then, like I said, I did gain in 2015 after the
Mhm.
divorce. And then I also had a gain last December,
Hmm.
but it wasn't the fault of the meat. It was like Kelly Hogan says,
Mm-hmm.
it's the dairy. It's the
Mm,
dairy.
yeah,
Even if her
yeah.
wash machine breaks down, it's the dairy. It's always the dairy. And sure enough, it's the dairy. So I
Yeah.
really, yeah, that is just a slippery, slippery slope, that for me, maybe not for some others, but for me.
Oh, it is for many others. I've seen, I've known, and myself too. I fall into it over and over again.
Yeah, yeah. And then, of course,
Mm.
I saw one thing on your channel and I thought, that was good. That was the ice cream with the Ninja Creamy.
Oh
Really
yeah,
good. The
yeah,
egg one,
yeah, yeah.
but I've had more than my share. Let's put it
Right,
that way.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's another really
Yep.
get carried away on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just the what you eat, it's also the how much you eat.
Yes.
And as I'm learning in Dr. Bickman's course, the timing of your eating so that we can kind of lower our insulin.
Okay.
So when I was on Atkins induction, my blood sugar was pretty high. I wasn't diabetic yet. My blood pressure was very high. So I was on two blood pressure medications, about to go on a third.
Mm.
And yeah, it came down pretty quickly. Now, nobody told me that you have to reduce your medication. I don't usually tell doctors what I'm doing. And so I just kept taking the medication. I didn't know not to. So once again, I
Mm.
wind up unconscious and wind up in a hospital
Oh wow.
because I didn't need it anymore. When you don't need medication, you shouldn't be taking medication.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, that was all right. And I actually wrote a list of some of the things so I don't forget.
Good. Good. Because we tend to forget when we haven't been plagued by it for a while.
Right. So the acid reflux. So I had
Yeah.
GERD. I was
Hmm.
taking medication for that. I don't need that anymore. I couldn't stay awake. That was a really big thing. At one point, I was thinking of working full time. I thought, how can I work full time? I have to nap in the afternoon. I can't stay awake a whole day.
Mm.
I have to nap. And so just much more energy.
Hmm.
I wound up going to work full time, and that worked out well. Being able to move more easily
Yeah.
because you're not carrying, just think of it, a 10-pound bag of potatoes. That's pretty heavy if you have to carry that all day. Now carry 100 pounds of those
Hmm.
potatoes
Hmm.
all day.
Yeah.
Crazy, eh?
I know.
That's oh,
Hmm.
that's Canadian for those that aren't Canadian, eh? But but it is. Even now, I'd like to lose 20 pounds. A 20-pound bag of potatoes. That's heavy. That's a lot to carry around that my body doesn't need. I went from a size 26 to about a 14 now. Yeah, I have a pair
That's
of
where I
size
was
12
too.
pants.
Oh, cool. I
I
was
have
at
a
26 as well. So that's really cool. That's the same as me.
Yeah, I do have a pair that's a size 12, but
Yeah.
really I take a 14.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's but yeah, and that's just a really big difference.
It it is.
I have what's called hemicrania continua. So that means a headache on one side of the head.
Oh,
Always. It doesn't stop. It just flares up and down.
okay.
Well, that is really minimized. It's not completely gone, and I kind of have to
Mhm.
watch how much sleep I get and whatever.
Yeah.
So I prioritize my sleep. But yeah, it's pretty much gone or very, very low level. The blood pressure, like I said, no more meds. In fact, no meds at all of any kind. Blood sugar's normal.
Excellent.
My GFR, so that's the kidneys,
Yeah.
it was 56, which is a little bit on the low side.
Mhm.
And now it's 94. So I'm like, okay. So going, and this happened on carnivore, not on keto. That's where it improved. Dr.
So,
Lisa, wait a minute. I was talking to her
mm,
one time about my eyesight. My eyesight was minus 2.75, and it's now minus 1.25.
wow.
So
Congratulations.
I'm I wear glasses still to drive, but other than that, I pretty much don't wear them.
Oh.
This is a big one. I've had a heart murmur for as long as I can remember. I've been in
Mhm.
a cardiac unit and done the test a million times, lost my license 5 years, the whole kit and caboodle. And they can't find it. It's gone.
Wow.
It's gone. It's
This is
gone. I did not have surgery, any kind of intervention or anything. One thing, next one that I really appreciate more than anything, really, is I'm no longer constipated. So I have struggled with a chronic constipation since I
oh.
was a child, even on keto. But now on carnivore, I don't.
Isn't that
So I think,
interesting because of all the people that say, "Oh no, but you're not getting any fiber. Where's your fiber?" And everyone's worried about our fiber.
yeah. And yet, people that have, say, Crohn's or ulcerative
Hmm. Hmm.
colitis or something, what do they have to do? They have to go on no, no fiber
Yeah,
so it can heal. Or a newborn baby, they don't have any fiber,
they
and
do
they
not.
do poop,
They do.
right? They do poop. I actually have a funny story on that one, just real quick.
Sure.
So I have two sets of twins. Um, it was the younger twins, I do believe. Yeah, it was the younger ones. And they were getting dedicated. So we bring them to the front of the church. The pastor prays over them
Hmm.
and just dedicates them to God, their life. And one of them, sure enough, he poops
Right
all
there.
the way down the pastor's shirt. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And then last but not least, I was diagnosed with vasculitis. So that is, I have like
Oh,
petechiae. My whole legs broke out with this petechiae, these little
okay.
blood things that broke out. Now, when I went to the vasculitis clinic, they said it was not vasculitis, it was capillary fragility. But whatever it was,
Mm.
it doesn't seem to be an issue anymore.
Really? Oh, interesting.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm just wholly excited about that, the health that I've recovered. And to continue that health,
Mhm.
today I've been doing a few other things. I've been trying to shorten my window of eating.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe about late morning, late afternoon, even some days just once a day, trying to pay more attention to hunger, but I know that can be easily confused.
Yeah.
And also I go for a morning walk, a sunrise walk, so I
Nice.
can get the
Yeah.
light in my eyes. And it's just a really nice time. I actually enjoy the sunrise walk because I hear the birds singing and I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so nice. And then I go to the gym, not every day. I
Hmm.
mean, I do miss some days here and there, but for the most part, I'm trying to do that every day. I was listening to Coach Bronson on your channel. And basically, that's what he was saying, make it a habit, right? You've got to
Yep.
get that routine in, which
Yeah.
is more important than the time. The hardest thing about a gym, the hardest thing about going for a walk is doing it.
Yeah.
Just
That
start.
first step. And then
That,
once you're there, it's completely
right.
different. Yeah.
Because then you're not paying attention anymore. Then you
Yeah.
start to do whatever you do,
Yeah.
and and it's good. So there they have a little circuit. I just do the circuit,
Hmm.
and they've got a rowing machine. My granddaughter, she's into rowing. She's fabulous. I'll never quite be like that. However, it's fun. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
kind of a
wonderful.
good thing to do. Yeah. And so maybe
You
I
have a
could talk for a few minutes.
yeah, but you have a completely different life now. Like you're
Absolutely.
active, you know, you
Uh,
can
absolutely.
move, no medications. You know, we're in that age group where uh, most people that we know have 6, 7, 8 bottles of medications, and I know some of them. You
Absolutely.
know, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
I, I live in a retirement apartment and I'm the same age as you are.
Okay.
And I don't know that there's anyone else in this building that's not on medication.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's in Canada because I'm over 65, we get our meds for free. Here, you can have some more
Yes.
meds. You can have this, you
Yep.
can have that,
Yeah, they
right?
hand them out like candy.
Like candy. Um, yeah. In fact, after my divorce, I'd gone to the doctor because my blood pressure was climbing again. My
Hmm.
headache was worse. So I went to him. He gave me medication for my blood pressure. I thought, nah, I'm not taking medication. I can do this, right? Anyway, so wound up, like I said, 2020,
Hmm.
losing the weight again. But I wound up not taking the medication. But he wanted to see me again to make sure the medication was working. So I go back. He takes my blood pressure. He says, medication must be working. And what do I say? I said, well, I didn't take any. But the poor fella, his face kind of went confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? So I said, well, I just eat low carb. I could not bear to tell him that I eat no carb.
I
I
know.
thought,
I know.
that's just going too far. Like, because I know that's not where he's at. Now, maybe I should have. And I know many people listening, they would have, but I didn't have the guts to do that. So
Yeah.
just said low carb. In fact, I think, well, my kids all know I just eat meat.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just say low carb. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good. Wow.
So maybe I can talk about some of the things I've done to help others.
Yes, that's what I'd like to hear
Yeah.
about. And before you do that, I'll just say to people, we have links below in the video notes on Cathy's YouTube channel and her book and how you can get in touch with her because she's going to be talking about she's got some 4-week programs and so yeah,
Mhm.
Cathy, let's hear about that. I just wanted to let people know that those links are down below.
Okay. Well, there's quite a bit. So anyway, I wrote this book back in 2014. It was a lot of things that I'd kind of written along the way, just
Hmm.
scratch down here and scratch down there. And it's called The Kingdom Way. I do happen to have a copy. There
Yeah,
we
that
go.
link is below as well.
Yeah. So I wrote The Kingdom Way, and then I started to teach that in churches. So it's a 12-week program, basically.
Oh,
And
it's 12 weeks. Okay.
it's 12 weeks. And it's not about just physical weight, it's
Hmm.
also about spiritual weight,
Yes.
your mental weight, the things that we carry in our minds. Sometimes that goes
Hmm.
back to traumas and so on.
Yeah.
It's about the emotional weights that we carry. And then I mix that with some science and knowledge. And it's all coming from the Word of God
Hmm.
because the Word of God has everything that we need for life and godliness.
Right.
So if we want to live a life that's full of energy, full of vitality, and that's a gift that was given to us, then we have a responsibility to take care of that. And I think I'll just go through some of the chapters quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
The first is on confronting excuses. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, and that's happened in the Bible so much. Great men of God made excuses, like Moses. Well, I can't do that because I can't talk. Or can't come to the banquet now. Don't trouble me. I married a wife, I bought a cow, I'm too busy. We have excuses, that kind of thing. With each week, I have homework that's laid out,
Mm-hmm.
and then whoever's in the class would come back the following week completing their homework. So these are some emotional exercises, some mental exercises, whatever. That one's on what are my excuses and what does the Word of God say about those excuses? The second week, it's on goal setting. How are you going to go anywhere if you don't know where you want to go?
Yeah.
Right? If I wanted to go to Vancouver Island, where you are, I got to make a plan. How am I going to get there?
Yeah.
Right? If I want to go to California, I need a map. So it's kind of like laying out that map for yourself. Where do you want to go? And what step are you going to take towards that? And it's just one step at a time, one day at a time, one step. Don't try to do the entire thing in one day. It's just one little step at a time. The third week, we look at portion distortion.
That's a good word.
I'm guilty of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, well, I'd say that's about 4 ounces. Don't you think that's about 4 ounces? When it's actually 8 or 9 ounces, or whatever it is, right? Or for me with meat, it could be, don't you think that's a pound? It's actually a pound and a half, whatever. Trust me, I can eat. Anyway, so there they journal everything that they do for a week. The next one, which is the chapter we're on right now, is gardening. So when you have a garden, and I'm not a gardener, but when you have a garden, you have to take out the weeds. Those weeds are the things that maybe came from generations before us, things that we learned in childhood, some of the rules that we learned, finish your plate, stuff like that. So we've got to take out some of that. And when we take it out, we also have to nourish it with what's right.
Mm-hmm.
So we sort of fertilize the ground. We got to pull those roots of overindulgence out right from the root. If you don't take the root out and you just do the surface, it'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just do the diet, but you're not dealing with the underlying issues, it will come back.
That's for sure.
Right? And then I've got a whole checklist in there of various fears that maybe you have. And then we'll look at why do you have that fear? Is it real?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're afraid of things that will never happen. Number 5, here we're going to look at various ways of eating. So it's the best food, choosing the best food for each person. Now, in my Kingdom Way groups, although I'm carnivore, people that come are not necessarily carnivore. Sure. Sometimes they're more keto. Some of them even still include fruit or grain. And I don't tell people what they need to eat. That's between them and the one that created them. It's not my place to do that. So we look at the rainbow diet, the Genesis diet. And I want to say something about that. In Genesis, because these are things I hear from people. They say, yeah, but it says that we're supposed to eat fruit. What grew from the ground, something that has the seed in it. This is what we're supposed to eat. Yes, it does say that, doesn't it? It says that in the Garden of Eden, which was before sin came into the world. After sin came into the world, Genesis chapter 3, this is where I think Dr. Chaffee has got it. And he says all plants are poisonous to a degree. That's true.
Yeah.
Various degrees. Well, I think when sin entered the garden, man came under the curse And all of creation is under this curse. And I think that that's where the toxins came in from the plants. That's my
Okay.
theory. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have any kind of anything to book it up. It's just my theory to back it up. And then if you want to move on to Genesis 9, it says to eat meat. It doesn't say only meat, but it does say meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So chapter 6 I wrote while I was on the plane. I was speaking in Kenya at the time, not just on this,
Mm-hmm.
but this applies not only to food, it also applies to other areas of your life. So I've taken a lot of bits and pieces from here and
Okay.
I've spoken them here, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda. Chapter 6 I wrote while I was on the plane because I just kept going and going writing. And it's about Pharaoh's control. If you know the story of Pharaoh with the Israelites, there was 10 plagues that were released. And I look at each one of those plagues and I relate it to the battles that we go through in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
The last of the 10 plagues before the children of Israel were let go, and then Pharaoh's army chases after them, and the Pharaoh's army gets drowned, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The last of the plagues is death of the firstborn. So we're not talking about your firstborn. We're talking about our Adamic nature. So that's like the sin nature, the nature that we have within us that wants to do what we want to do and not what's right.
Okay.
It's like the little child
Mm-hmm.
within us.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So the homework there is we identify each one of the plagues and how that's affecting our lives. And a lot of that the battle actually happens in our mind.
Yes.
So changing the mindsets, the self-talk, it's dwelling on the things of the past and so on. Number 7 is our vision, purpose, and destiny. Each one of us has a purpose. We're on this earth for a time for a purpose. And it's how to discover that, how to write a mission statement for your life,
Mm-hmm.
and how to fulfill that purpose for your life. The Bible says in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. So if you don't know where you're going or why you're here, it's like, well, let's just party and do whatever because it doesn't matter. Nothing
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
But when you have a purpose, things matter. Number 8 is law and order. So the law is the diet rules. Do this, don't do
Mm-hmm.
that, do this,
Mm-hmm.
don't do that, measure this, do that. And it's like, oh my goodness. But order, basically, that's having a plan and taking self-control back in your life. Number 9, chapter 9 is love.
Mm-hmm.
Love covers a multitude of sins, and that's learning to love ourselves, to show ourselves the same
Mm-hmm.
kind of love that God has shown us. And in that, I have people actually go to the mirror, look in the mirror, eye to eye, and say, I love you, Cathy, or whatever your name is. I love you, Anita. Actually looking right into the
That can
mirror.
be a very difficult thing to do for people.
It's a very difficult thing to
Yeah.
do
Mm-hmm.
because oftentimes we don't love ourselves. We've been abusing ourselves. We've been
Mm-hmm.
abusing our bodies. But when we do that,
Mm-hmm.
we work through love because that's how we're going to be healed on the inside is through love. It's not through browbeating. It's not through any of that. It's through
Mm-hmm.
showing love and compassion to ourselves. Number 10 is the bumps, roadblocks, stumbling, which
Mm-hmm.
we all experience from time to time. And then what to do with that. And to watch out for the enemy. So the enemy is like that temptation,
Mm.
right? Kind of watch out for that
Yeah.
temptation. But there is no temptation that has taken us except what's common to man. And it really comes down to our desires.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a way of escape with a temptation. Number 11 is co-creators of our destiny. So we want to just create the destiny that we want. We work with God. It doesn't just happen to us. Like you don't just pay money, it just happens. You have to actually work at it.
Yes.
And then the last week is just in celebration and giving, testimony as to whatever has happened over those 12 weeks.
Yes. Wow. That
So
sounds like a
that's,
really complete curriculum there. And
yeah, there's a lot to it.
how often does this run?
Okay. So this one is free. This one I do Thursday evenings, and it's at 7 p.m. I do it on Zoom. The link for that is found on either the Facebook group or on the Facebook page.
Right. Yeah.
It's there.
Okay, so they can
And I think
contact you for that
YouTube
one.
too.
Yes.
The bottom of YouTube, it has it there too.
Okay.
So that one's free. Another free one that I do is noon on Thursdays. This is all Eastern time.
Okay.
Oh dear. Okay. So noon on Thursdays, that's a carnivore chat. In the food addiction reset community, I also teach a course. It's a 4-week course. It's called Conquering Food Addiction with Faith-Based Wisdom.
Okay.
And I'm also hosting a couple hours in the food addiction reset community. And there I take concierge members as well. So that's one-on-one support and group
so
support, and a
there's
number of
a
other things there.
variety of things and
Absolutely.
options, both free and some are paid, and
Right.
people can
Right.
pick and choose. Okay. All right.
Pick
Okay.
and choose.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for walking us through that, because it really helps people understand what it is that you're offering. But we better get to the questions. They're piling up here. So,
Okay.
so let me just get. Oh, somebody would like to know, Cathy, if you drink coffee.
Do I drink coffee? I drink decaf coffee, and it is
Okay.
extremely weak.
Okay.
Nobody would want it. I oftentimes will take just one Keurig pod and I put it in the pot, and it's a pot of coffee.
Okay.
So it's very, very weak and just black.
Yeah. My coffee's pretty watered down as well. Sherry would love to hear more about the timing of eating that you mentioned and whose course you mentioned.
Okay. So that particular course, I've got a number of certificates. The Food Addiction Reset Advocate Certificate. I also have the Nutritional Advisor Certificate from the Nutrition Network. But the one that you're referring to is with Dr. Ben Bickman, and it's called an Insulin IQ Coach course. So that's what I'm taking right now. And he recommends that you do some fasting. Now, you don't have to fast for days. So he refers to, if you're doing something within a 24-hour window, that's time restricted eating. So I basically just time restrict my eating from the late morning to late afternoon, sometimes a little bit later, whatever, something like that. So trying to keep it within about, I don't know, 4 to 6 hour window, depending on the day.
Okay.
All right.
It's doable.
It's doable.
Christina would like to know what type of meat you eat.
Christina, beef. I'm beefy. So I'd say 90. I eat beef every day. If I don't have beef in that day, I've missed something. Now I am trying to incorporate a little bit more on the seafoods for those omega-3s.
Yes.
But it's the beef that I really want beef.
Yeah. I get that. Okay. Eve Baker would like to know, I guess, do you know your cholesterol?
I happen to. I just went maybe about a week ago just to get blood panels done, whatever, and it was totally fine. Now I know for some, their cholesterol may be high, but remember, every cell in your body does need cholesterol.
Yes.
And it's really a lipid carrier. So there's a lot of videos that are out there on cholesterol. Dr. Berry
There
has
is,
some
yes.
and many others. So that's something you could look into if you're concerned.
Yes. Um, Anna Maria. Kathy, nice
Ah,
to see you, my sister. Thanks
Anna
for
Maria.
sharing your story. Yes,
Yes,
she's also on our Zoom meetings, which we love to have her.
sure.
I'd
Yeah,
like to know what you eat in a day. Can you give us an example?
sure. Anna Maria, she's a fireball.
She
I tell you,
is.
just love her. But what do I eat in a day? It really varies a little bit, but generally speaking, in the morning, late morning, noon, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. Let's say noon. I have probably 3 eggs and maybe 3 slices of bacon,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be ground beef that I've cooked or something like some kind of meat. And then for dinner, I have beef. There are some days when I just feel like I just want more fat. I had one day like that last week,
Mm-hmm.
and I took just a hunk of what was it, beef fat trimmings,
Yep.
cut it up, air fried it, and I
Love
just had that
those.
for dinner.
Yeah, I love those. I can make a meal
And
out of
like,
those too. They're great.
and I'm trying to incorporate more of the seafood, as I was saying, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure where to put that because
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually already satisfied with what I've got.
Right,
So I'll have to
right.
kind of play with that a bit.
Yep.
And I have a recipe I saw somewhere, and it's so good. So I'm just going to say it. Maybe it wasn't you, I don't think. But anyway, so I take the oysters
Mm-hmm.
and I just do an egg wash. And then I use the pork rind crumbs
Yes.
that are spiced, floated in there, fry it in some bacon grease.
Oh, that sounds so
Yum.
good. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
try that. You didn't get that from me. I'm gonna try that. Ursula from Kitchener, Ontario. She's from your neck of the woods. She's
Yeah, my
80
neck.
years old and is on no medications. That is wonderful. Thank you. How is El Ruteri working? Now, do you do the yogurt? Maybe she's asking me that question.
Oh, yeah, I don't do the yogurt.
Okay.
So
Okay.
ask
I'll
Anita that though.
yeah,
She knows.
I'll quickly answer that. I am loving it still, and I'm finding I don't have to have it every day now. It's, in the beginning I was eating it every day, and now I'm kind of just intermittently eating it. I'm still enjoying it. My digestion is better, so I do recommend looking into that Super Gut book by Dr. Davis. So
Yeah.
next question. Kathy, is your book comparable to the Weight Down Diet from Gwen Shamblin?
No, not at all. Gwen Shamblin's book, and sadly, Gwen passed away a number of years ago in a plane accident. But
Mm.
in the Way Down workshop, so what it's called, Way Down workshop that she had, the she looks at just the trip of the Israelites from Egypt into the Promised Land, and that's what her entire program is based on.
Okay,
So no,
thank
it's
you.
not.
Yvonne says portions were always her problem. She can eat a lot at once. Having a narrow eating window helps with that. And she can't fit the same amount of food in 4 hours as she can pack in 6 or 8. So, that narrow
Right.
window is helpful.
Mhm.
And our friend Anna Maria is back. Why didn't I know about you sooner, Kathy? Oh, this is
I
so
don't
nice. What a nice message. I love how you use the word to lay a foundation and apply it to our lives. Praise God.
know.
Lord
Yeah.
bless you. Thank you, Anna
Thank you, Anna.
Maria. Ran Can Cook Kanoi. Last week, my daughter and I did the 3-day egg fast. Thank you for the recipes and video. You are so welcome. I'm glad that you too enjoyed that. Low Carb
Yeah, there's a
Spin is
number of
in the
fasts, right?
house. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Hi, guys. Thanks for being here. They would like to know if you take any supplements.
Well, not really. However, I do have vitamin D in the cupboard,
Mm-hmm.
and once in a while I remember to take one or a few of them. Oh no, I do. I do. I forgot about that. A couple of iodine drops.
Okay.
I put it in my coffee in the morning. And that was a tip from Dr. Berry. And I thought,
Yes.
I don't know if it makes any difference.
Yeah,
maybe it
I
does.
mean, there is, I think people should research that for themselves and make sure that, especially if they have thyroid issues or they're taking medications for thyroid, they really, you know, they should get maybe talk to their doctor and get tested if they actually need iodine, just in
Right.
case, you know.
I like that better. If you test rather than just taking this, that, and the other.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's another question. This one's for me. I'm starting the egg. Oh, just a statement. Starting the egg fast tomorrow since my husband is going out of town. Sometimes it's easier when you're just doing it by yourself, I think, too. And
Yeah.
I've certainly heard that before. So we do have time for a few more questions. I'm just going to go over to the live chat and just say hi to a couple of people. Just Jason Keto, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Let's see, Ron's Keto Cafe, and let's see, we've got a few people here from all, too many to mention. I would love to mention you all, so I'm just going to say hello, everybody, and put a Q in front of your question. We have a few more minutes to ask Cathy any questions. If you want to ask her a question about her course or her book or what she is doing and how she's kept off that 100 pounds. I see that the moderators are posting your YouTube link in the chat as well. So please, if you're not already subscribed to Cathy, go ahead and do that. And, get her some subscribers going there. And let's see, what else have we got here? Okay. Okay, so Patricia says, I'm loving this interview. It's so not easy, but trying to keep it super simple, struggling most days, different arenas daily. But I'm noticing a bit of a pattern in my difficulties. Thank you.
That's excellent, actually, because she's noticing, like paying attention to what was happening at the time that I wanted to eat this or I wanted to eat that, because
Yes.
so often there's some sort of emotion, some sort of event or something connected to that. So recognizing is really key. And then you can make your plan as to what you're going to do
Yes. Yes.
when those circumstances come up or those emotions.
Yeah, and then you can be, yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of people use journaling for that type of thing too,
Yes.
because it and I know Anna Maria is a big fan of journaling, and it enabled
Yeah.
her to spot things that were going on causing her digestive issues. So there's a lot of value in doing that. Thank
Yeah.
you, Patricia. Rancan Cook says, Cathy, thank you for doing the live stream this evening.
Oh, my pleasure.
Susan says she's just subscribed to your channel.
Thank you, Susan.
That's
Thank you,
very
Susan.
nice. Cat Diamond, tell us about the retreat. Well, I haven't been yet. All I know at this point, I don't know a lot. I know that there's going to be some guest speakers there, people like Dr. Sean Baker, Dr. Kiltz, a few others. So I'm very excited about that. What I'm most excited about is not having to cook and clean my kitchen for 5 whole days. And it's a carnivore retreat, so I know the food is going to be safe and good, and 5 days of meaty food and meaty company. So very exciting. I will actually talk more. I'll do when I come back. I will definitely talk to everybody about it. Pat, yes, Cathy does have an email. Do you want to say your email out
I
loud? We
do.
do have it down below in the YouTube notes,
Okay. Yeah.
but just say it
So
out loud.
the Kingdom Way, WEIGH at yahoo.com.
Thank you, Cathy. But do find it below. It's in the YouTube notes. Thank you for this interview from another Cathy. She has enjoyed it very
Thanks, Kathy.
much.
You've got a good name, Kathy.
There you go. And Janice says, I want to thank you both for this interview. Very informative. So
Thanks,
thanks,
Janice.
guys. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. And let me just see. What else? Okay, so yep, there is just a few minutes left. Deb947 says she moved a 30-pound cement block today, and that was something she could not do a year ago, and she's 66. You are the same age as us. I don't think I
Awesome.
can move a 30-pound
30 pounds.
cement block. I'm not so sure I could do that, but good for you.
I do
That's
20
amazing.
pounds at the gym, so 30 pounds, that is amazing. Good job.
That is really good. I'm impressed with that. Holy smokes. Let me see. Lisa agrees with us about fiber being overrated.
Yes.
Definitely. Robin, carnivorous grandma, is here. Same with Robin for the constipation. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And
coming,
I watched
Robin.
I watched one of her videos today too,
Yeah, we love
actually.
Robin. We
Yeah,
love her
she's
here.
awesome.
Okay, let's see. Somebody else is blaming the dairy, Teresa, and from Low Carb Spin.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Da, da, da. Okay, well, do you have? So we are. Maybe you could give us some closing thoughts and if you have anything you'd like that maybe you haven't
Yeah.
said already that you'd like to
Yeah.
say, as we're winding up here. And I'll keep an eye out to see if any more questions come in. I think there's we
Well, I think
answered
everyone
all of
needs to
those.
recognize what their trigger foods are, even on carnivore, different
Hmm.
things are triggering foods for different
Yes.
people. They
Yeah.
can just go overdose on them. And the quantity that we eat still matters. Here with Low Carb Spin, same as me, same as Kelly Hogan, it's the
Hmm.
dairy.
Yeah.
So because dairy, it's full of, it has casomorphines and it's really intended to put a calf to sleep, right? It
Hmm.
has a
Oh,
sedative
yeah,
sort of
isn't that?
effect and
Yeah.
to put a
Yeah.
whole lot of weight on
Yeah.
that calf. Well, that's
Quickly.
exactly what it does
Yeah.
with us, right?
Yes.
So if you're going to have any, that's one of the things that I would really have to measure. If I don't measure it, I can
Yeah.
easily kind of deceive myself and have too much of it.
Yeah.
And the idea of fasting, we're talking about the
Hmm.
egg fast. There's quite a few different ways to fast. And I know this is another thing that comes up. Oftentimes people will say to me, well, what about the Daniel diet? Daniel ate just pulse, basically, vegetables and
Hmm.
sort of a cereal mix or whatever. That was not his diet. That was a fast. That was a
Mm.
fast. One was for 10 days, one was for 21 days. So when we're fasting, even though we're not totally abstaining from food, we can have the egg fast, as Anita's done, which I haven't done an egg fast. I've heard about them for years, but I'm like, I've never done an egg fast. Or we could do a fat fast, and I have done a sardine fast.
Yes. Yes. Me too. Those are fun. Um, it's funny you mentioned about we forget what things were for, like the dairy is to fatten up a calf quickly. Just a quick story about my mom. She always refused to buy corn, like corn on the cob or corn. She was from Eastern Europe, as you know, and as kids we were going, oh mom, get some corn, get some corn, and no, 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 and the reason that she refused to buy corn is because in her life as she was growing up, they fed that to the pigs. Like to her, it was pig
Yes.
food. And so she would say that, we used to throw that to the pigs. We would grow corn and throw it to the pigs. We didn't grow it to eat. And you forget those things. What did your ancestors do with certain foods? Why did they go there? So I always thought that was interesting, and it makes it really hard for me to desire corn, which I'm glad.
Yeah. I mean, just think of it. Before the 1980s, people were eating really, for the most part, real food, and they weren't
Yes.
eating all the time. And then in the 1980s, we started with all the processed food companies, and then it just goes on and on. And then they purchased the diet companies. We've got all these products out there, deadly stuff. Let's just get back to close to how God made food, as
Yes.
close as we can
Yeah.
within our budgets.
Drina says, "You ladies are giving me so much inspiration. Thanks for the great example and the wonderful info." That was a nice comment. Thank you,
Thanks, Trina.
Drina.
Appreciate you.
Uh, Anna Maria. And by the way, go and sign up for her channel too. She's got a YouTube
Yes,
channel as
yes,
well. If her heat pump
yes,
didn't go
definitely.
out, she would have signed up for the retreat just to see me in person. Oh, that would have been so
Uh,
nice, but I understand
yeah.
that. Robin wants to know if either of us are going to Hack Your Health. I don't. Are you going?
I wish. I
Yeah.
wish. It's just not in my budget to do all these things. Although I looked at Hack Your Health, and you can get like a virtual pass for a while for like
Yes.
$150
Yeah.
American. So
I'm
I
on
looked
the
at that. I thought, well, maybe I
fence.
can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm on the fence
Yeah.
about it too. I
It's just expensive.
it sure is. And I'm going to the retreat, and it's an overnight flight, and it'll be the same if I go to Hack Your Health. So I'm going to see how I survive and feel about the overnight flight to to Tennessee.
It'll be worth it though.
Oh,
It'll be worth it.
I think it will be for sure. So that's okay,
That's
Patricia.
okay.
The name of her book is the same as her channel, The Kingdom Way, with Way spelled Weigh, and it's also below in the video notes. You'll find that there, and
Cool.
it could also be in the live chat as well, I think. So
Mhm.
yeah. So, do you have anything you want to say as a final thought? Because we're pretty much at the end. We're going to wrap this up. We've gone through the
I think that's
questions.
my final thought. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming and thank
Hmm.
Anita especially for having me today. That's just been a real honor to be here. And what I want to say is a verse. Which one do I want? Oh, there's a few. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, in other words, get yourself a community that's going to be
Mm,
supportive of you while you're on this journey.
yeah.
Because when you're carnivore, you're different than the rest of the world. And you just want to be with people that are like minded in that and throw off those things that are holding you back from running your race. So get rid of the junk food in your house, get rid of the sugars, the flours, the addictive substances, get them out of your life, and then run your race, our life race with God, because He's there for you. Call out to Him, He'll be there for you. And another one that somebody brought to me recently, it came from what Deuteronomy 30, basically choose life. So in every decision that you make each day,
Hmm.
you're choosing either death or you're choosing life. So choose life. That's it. Thanks again for
So,
being here.
yeah, those are some amazing closing thoughts. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing that. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody out there who has spent this hour with us. You know, you've spent your Sunday night with us, and we both appreciate it so much. So, I will see you guys in 2 weeks, not next week, but in 2 weeks. Again, good night, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Love you guys all.
Thanks, everybody.